Hello all, Rick here. I seldom do news anymore, what with how volatile rumour mills tend to be, but it looks like we've got a lot of new content dropping from the Comic-Con that I want to talk on. So, it looks like we have a new wave of Star Trek projects announced, and in the works at various levels of completion. Firstly, with Lower Decks retiring after its 5th season, there is a new comedic-themed live-action one in the works to take over that light-hearted corner of Trek that has been rather successful. Tawny Newsom's already on board, so I have hopes for it as she's a massive fan and voice of consistency to the TNG-era Trek. This new series will supposedly be set on a resort planet, which I'll admit I'm curious to see. We've yet to have a series set on a colony world, let alone a resort type thing. Then the resort aspect would allow for all sorts of people to pass through the location, enabling a rotation of events and characters akin to an episode of the week style. Now you could say that a trade station or hub would yield the same thing, but that was already kinda covered in Deep Space Nine. Plus, as I said, this is a totally different view of life in the Star Trek universe. Arguably the more common existence as someone who actually maintains feet on the ground, in what I'm assuming is a Federation resort. Overall, this one has my curiosity, but I'm also happy it is not airing alongside Lower Decks, as I think 2 Trek comedies at the same time is a little much. As mentioned, Lower Decks is getting its final season, starting October 24th with 2 episodes. From what we can see, it looks to be more of the same hijinks, with the crew ending up reunited with Tendi back on the team, and there are plenty of references and in-jokes that the series is known for. Even the trailer is a recreation of Star Trek VI's, including a reuse of an old-school decon chamber and an alternate universe USS Cerritos under the command of a possibly more capable crew. We get to see more Klingon involvement, including the reunion of Beckett and Ma'a, Painsticks and more. We get to see Tendi leading some Orion missions against the older animated series Orions. There's an undercover mission from the Cerritos that looks to be some cultural observations on a pre-warp society, and another that has finally discarded wealth and a resort planet. There is not much more to say except that Lower Decks has been consistently one of the brightest parts of the new era Star Trek, and I'm sad to see it coming to a close. Strange New Worlds is returning with an extended peek at a single episode. It looks to be the standard bearer for that traditional Trek style of series, event of the week with some slight overarching narrative elements to pull on, which have served it well. It means that it can go from playfully wacky one episode to tense and gritty the next, which was the strength of that style of narrative. For example, I was never a fan of the Ferengi episodes of DS9. But the whole series was not always centred on that, so it was never an issue for me. Same with Strange New Worlds, but for the most part I've only really enjoyed and consider it the best of the new Trek series overall so far. Glad it continues on, and I hope it gets as many seasons as it can, all the way to seeing the handover of the Enterprise, if we can. There was more news dropped from the Starfleet Academy series. As a reminder, it is set in the 32nd century, maintaining that far-flung future that was set up in Star Trek Discovery. Honestly, still mixed up about this one, as an Academy series in any era is one I really was not ever interested in, but we really don't have a lot of info, except for the setting and some cast announcements, so who knows. Oh, and one thing of importance, Robert Picardo is returning as the Doctor in the 32nd century, so it's amazing to know that if nothing else, it looks like the sentient EMH program survives long into the future of Starfleet. And then there is the Section 31 Long Trek short film, extended episode thing. From the get-go, it makes it very apparent that this is going to be a very different Star Trek, and it's not trying to fit in. In fact, Misfits is in the warning splash at the beginning of the trailer. Honestly, my initial reaction to the trailer was along the lines of, this is what I expected, and I didn't like Suicide Squad, I'm not gonna lie. Lore first. So, there are clearly some temporal issues going on here. After Empress Georgiou ended up back in her mirror universe, or at least some version of it, there had to be some form of time travel to place her here in the early 23rd century for Section 31. My theory is that she was on board the ISS Enterprise when it fled the mirror universe into the prime reality, but who knows. I would not put it past Section 31 to have gotten wind of her appearing in the Prime Universe again and tracking her down with a you never officially resigned kind of attitude and roping her back in. I assume whatever they're chasing, this MacGuffin, is also from the Terran universe. At this stage, Section 31 should be fading into obscurity once more and considered a rogue agency by most of the Federation, which honestly does seem to line up with what the trailer depicts. It certainly does not feel like the later era division we see in DS9, 50 or 60 odd years from now, but nor does it feel like the Section 31 of Discovery, which was far more official and well managed. The trailer also has a lot of flashbacks to Georgiou's past, which further clouds what is Prime and what is an entirely separate reality, so I think we're going to be getting a lot of development on the rise of the Empress in her universe. Now, in terms of the feel of the show, with the focus on a nightclub, entertainment venues like a concert hall combined with the violence and darker lighting, it certainly creates a distinct style. It's not that these elements never existed in Star Trek. Of course they did, the galaxy is a large place. But we seldom visit them or revel in these grim corners of the stars. This one-off seems to do just that, and tonally is really trying not to be Star Trek. I'm in two minds about this, as it is going to be divisive. On one hand, I enjoy the familiar, and I want to see elements of the Starfleet I know, but it's totally irreconcilable with this theme the show is going for. On the other hand, I'm always happy to look at seldom explored areas of Trek. Be it times, places, organisations or aliens, I like exploring it all, so of course I'm intrigued to take a look here too. So far, we don't see any Starfleet presence really, no ships, uniforms or anything, which leads me to believe they're steering away from the familiar on purpose, and I'm alright with this, as I believe they cannot resist extensive visual redesigns. In fact, we even see power armour, which is cool, but not very a Starfleet thing despite apocryphal inclusions here and there. The vessel does not even look remotely Federation to me, which all adds to this notion that we are now in a Section 31 that has been disavowed by the UFP, further untangling an issue created by early Star Trek Discovery. We do have our first look at Rachel Garrett of this time. Even she appears to be completely here on an undercover mission, leaving all that behind, except the general Starfleet distaste for Section 31. I'll watch it and see how it impacts the lore. After all, we have relatively little from this era when compared to the settings of all the other shows. But I was never really on board with a Section 31 series, so I'm glad we got Strange New Worlds before this. This mini-movie, however, that's enough of a delve from me into the dark, cynical and bloody world of Black Ops. Overall, Section 31 looks like it's not trying to be Star Trekky, and I can respect it for that, even if it does not personally look like my kind of thing. I'm not going to hate on it or needlessly trash it because it's not my flavour. The Trek galaxy is massive, and not everything in it should adhere to the same formula. After all, that's how we got the Dominion War. What I do like is the notion of these longer treks being able to take risks and try different tones or corners of the world. So, that covers my theories, thoughts and foibles on recent Trek trailers. Until the next video, thanks for watching, and any of these on your radar? I'm still awaiting a new series set in the 25th century. It would be fun to continue the timeline on without jumping to the major future. Thanks again, and goodbye.